Talk about it. It's time to talk about it. It's time to talk about it. Talk about it. Alright, so we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. Dr. Kojo is back, and tonight we're talking about 3 potential causes of autism. I'm also going to share what I would tell the president if I had a chance to talk to him and work alongside this administration when it comes to promoting mental health awareness. So we're going to get into it. Once again, if you're not familiar with this channel, who I am, my name is Kojo Sarfa. I'm your Hollywood mental health expert. I make content to help you understand yourself a little bit better, which helps you advocate for yourself. And it also makes your life a little bit better, hopefully a lot better. Use the comment section to let me know where you're checking in from, and let's go ahead and get started. We have, we have our TikTokers on tonight. We also have our YouTubers on as well. So my YouTube community, shout out, shout out, shout out. And I think we're live on Facebook. Are we live on Facebook? We're not live on Facebook yet. Let me put that up so that way I don't keep hearing that go off and over and over. We're not live on Facebook yet, but looks like we're about ready to go live on Facebook. What camera are we using on Facebook? Facebook should have had the stream. What's going on here? Let me refresh this Facebook button real quick. Shasty! Shasty! Come on, Shy. Up, 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 up. No, up. The people want to see you, Shy. The people want to see you. Up, Zoe, up. Come here, baby. Zoe. Shasty. Up, Zoe, up. Shy, like you can't hear me. Shasty. Alright, so what's going on here with Facebook? Alright. Zoe, come here. Up. Come here. Up. There we go, baby. Zoe, the people want to see you. So we're going to be talking about autism tonight, but my dog wants to make a special appearance. My dog wants you all to see how beautiful she is. You know, this is Daddy's little girl right here. Hey, Shasty. Somebody's asking if Tylenol causes autism. No, Tylenol does not cause autism. And in the president's defense, I don't think he was trying to insinuate that Tylenol causes autism. I think he was trying to say that there's an association with autism and Tylenol. It's one of those correlation, not causation type of things. I'm trying to give the president the benefit of the doubt here. But we'll get into all of that and more. I just want y'all to see how beautiful my dog is. Shasty, say hey to the people. Say hey to all of our friends on TikTok. And say hey to all of our friends on YouTube. They missed you. The OG TikTokers remember Shasty when I first started going live in Virginia. Alright, baby. Down. Good girl. Alright. Zoe, Daddy gotta focus now. Let me make sure I can bring in our Facebookers, and then we'll talk about the potential causes of autism. Yes, it is hereditary. So Chris Jada. I'm gonna get into it. You're taking my talking points as if you know what's in my head. All right, let me see. It looks like we lost connection very briefly on TikTok. I think we're back now. Make sure that our connection is good on Facebook. All right. Let me find the Facebook stream key. This is so complicated. God damn. Copy.
If Housewife wants to repair it,
let me see. Zoe, be nice. All right. Okay, I think we're about ready to go live on Facebook now. I think we're about ready. There we go. All right. It's time to bring our boys and girls in from Facebook. So we're streaming live on TikTok. We are streaming live on YouTube. And it's time to bring the boys and girls from Facebook on. Alright. We are rolling in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. It's your boy Dr. Kojo and my dog Zoe Shiesty. Can y'all see Zoe? I think y'all can see Zoe. Y'all see Zoe? My dog Zoe Shiesty right here. You can see her little pretty face. We're going to be talking about 3 potential causes of autism. We'll talk about the comments that the president made, and we're going to get into it. So, my Facebookers already know who I am. Go ahead and use the comment section to let me know where y'all are checking in from. And then, Zoe, relax. I'm going to take you for your walk. This girl's a brat. Nicky Ficky. Danielle, she is a cute dog. I appreciate her. Alright, guys, so it's time to talk about it. So first and foremost, because I'm not going to keep y'all waiting. Y'all been waiting for a whole 5 minutes now. First and foremost, when we're talking about the potential causes of autism, I just want to say that I don't know the exact cause of autism. I just want to say that. I'm humble enough to admit that I don't know the exact cause of autism. It's a very liberating thing to say I don't know. So I don't know. That's it. Thank you for coming to my online TED Talk. I don't know, but from what we do know, to my knowledge, the biggest thing that contributes to the development of autism is genetics. So I have 3 causes today, and that's number 1. Normally when I do these lists, they're not in any particular order. Tonight they are in order. Or at least number 1 is number 1 for a very specific reason. Because autism runs a family. So if your father and your grandfather and your auntie on your mom's side, your uncle on your mom's side, if you have multiple family members that have autism, there's a good chance that you could be autistic. I'm not saying that you are, alright? But there's a good chance that you could be. And this is standard across the board with mental health conditions. So be nice. So be nice. I'm going to take you for your walk shortly. So, for example, if you have bipolar disorder, right? Or if you have a first-degree relative with bipolar disorder, your chances of having bipolar disorder are significantly higher than the average population. Genetics is something that we cannot avoid. You can't sidestep genetics. I have ADHD. I'm the only person in my family diagnosed with ADHD. But the key word is diagnosed. Because I know there's some other ADHD Mickey Fickies in my family. And my mom is 2 Adderalls away from changing her life. But I'm the one who went to the doctor to go get the label. I'm the crazy one. Somebody said, when did autism get invented? So, great question by the way on TikTok. I feel like it's been around for a long time, but we had I think it's a German doctor who coined a term in 1911. Dr. Eugene how do y'all pronounce his name? Let me not screw it up here. Let me not screw up his name. A Google search will help you out. Be nice, though. Be nice. Actually, he wasn't German. He was Swiss. So he must be from Sweden, right? Swiss. Guys, I'm not good at geography. I apologize. Swiss. You would think that Swiss is like... Okay, it's Switzerland. Alright, whatever. I'm wrong. Anyway, he was a Swiss psychiatrist. Eugene Bleuler. Guys, like I said, I didn't go to school for, like the enunciation of names, so please forgive me. But Dr. Eugene Bleuler, I'm going to stop butchering his name. But y'all get the point. He was the one who coined the term autism in 1911. I don't think that's when autism was invented, but that's when we had a word to finally describe people who experience the world in different ways than other people. Be good. Be nice, Shasty. Be nice, Shasti. But genetics are so important. Somebody says Trump is German. Is Donald Trump German? Guys, please do not confuse me here, because y'all know that I'm not the best when it comes to knowing this stuff. I don't know if Donald Trump is German or not. I mean, look, he could be. I should know more about the president of the United States of America, but yeah, I mean, that's why y'all are here, to educate me. Because, like I said, I don't know. But genetics, guys, autism runs in families. It runs in families, so that is the biggest contributor to autism spectrum disorder. Let me give y'all an example here. So let's say I'm talking to a patient, right? Let me paint the scenario for y'all. I'm talking to a patient and we're doing a psychiatric evaluation, which, by the way, guys, that's the most important appointment with your psych. I say it all the time, and the way I was taught at the great Augusta University, I was taught that if you mess up with the psychiatric evaluation, you screwed up. You can screw up with a follow-up appointment, but don't mess up the psychiatric evaluation, because that's where you initially look to come up with a diagnosis. So, come here, baby. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. She's a spoiled brat. You don't want to mess up with the psychiatric evaluation, because that's where you come up with the diagnosis, right? So, if I'm doing a psychiatric evaluation on somebody and I just have a feeling that the person has autism, I'm going to ask a couple of questions that I would ask anyway. There's a section in every psychiatric evaluation called family history, where you ask about any family history of mental illnesses. And it's kind of a trick question, guys, because who knows the full psychiatric history of their family? I don't know it. You know, I'm from Ghana, West Africa, so I don't know what people in my family had. Now, I know stories of, my mom would tell me stories about certain people in the village. Some people were hearing voices. Some people thought that they were talking to spirits. But we don't have any information about the autistic homies or the ADHD homies. We don't have that information, so we just kind of guess. But some people do know that, oh, my father has schizophrenia. Like, some people have that information, right? So if I'm talking to somebody and I'm doing a psychiatric evaluation and they say, oh yeah, I have 2 older siblings who have autism. My dad has autism. My grandfather has autism. Then you're going to start to think, there's a chance that this person could be autistic. You have to start thinking that this is a potential diagnosis. And even if you don't officially diagnose the person with autism, which you wouldn't do during a psychiatric evaluation, you could at least screen for it. And a lot of times that screening is pretty damn near accurate. But when you screen for it and you're convinced that a person has autism, you're more than likely find out that it runs in their family. That's what you'll find out. So genetics is the biggest contributor to autism. So what does that mean? If genetics is the biggest contributor, that means that you probably cannot change whether you have autism or not. Like I make the joke at the comedy clubs where I say, my girl's autistic, and when she finds out, she's gonna be pissed. You know, the people love that joke. And let's say I marry my girl, which is a plan, you know, and we have kids, and you know, nobody wants to have, you know, kids that have a whole bunch of mental conditions, right? I have ADHD. I know how difficult it's been for me. So if I could choose to not have a kid that, you know, doesn't have any mental conditions, I'll take that. But if my child comes with ADHD and autism, I'm going to embrace my kid and do the best that I can, you know? But ideally, you'd like for your kids to have it better than, you know, how you had it. Because I know how difficult ADHD has made my life, so I wouldn't want, you know, my child to have anything. But if you have a child who's neurodivergent, and you are neurodivergent, and your old lady is neurodivergent, you cannot be surprised. Because the genetics. Right? You cannot change your genetics. You can't change that. So because the number one potential cause of autism is genetics, that means that I think at some point we should divert our attention away from thinking about what causes autism, like what's the big cause of it, to how can we better support individuals who have autism? And I think that that's a silver lining with this current discussion that we're having. Because some people are trying to turn this into a political issue. Guys, we're not here to turn this into a political issue. In my comment section, we have Republicans and the Democrats kissing. Like, we like each other over here. So I don't want to turn it into a political thing, but the fact that more people are talking about autism gives us a chance to shed a spotlight on the condition and start to think about ways that we can make the world better for autistic individuals. I think that's a silver lining here. So this is a net positive, in my opinion, and I don't think this is a reason to tear down the president. Whoever the commander-in-chief is, I'm going to respect whoever is in office. But I think this is a key chance to really shed a light on the condition and begin the process of figuring out ways to help out autistic individuals. And I'm seeing a comment from James on Facebook who says, 3 out of my 5 children have it, and so I'm starting to think I have it. LOL. I've struggled with a lot as a kid that they do, but I never got the help from my parents. So James Weeks on Facebook. James, first and foremost, number one, thank you for sharing. So this is what I'm talking about. Let's say James comes into the office. I don't know James, but now James is a friend because I see him commenting on Facebook. But let's just say in Narnia, in a different world, James is my patient. And James tells me that 3 out of his 5 kids are autistic. And that he does a lot of the things that his kids do now. Or he used to do those things when he was a kid. And he struggled, but nobody knew what was going on. Right there and then, I'm not going to diagnose James with autism. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, there's a good chance that James could be on the spectrum. So let me ask him a couple more questions. Let me potentially do a screening. I pull out the social communication questionnaire. And I screen James. And, if we go through the questionnaire and it looks as if he's on the spectrum, then we can refer him out for testing to confirm the diagnosis. I feel like everybody that has been referred out on my end has been autistic. So I'm starting to really be confident in my screening, or at least the way I do screening. So there's a chance that James may not be on the spectrum, but when it runs in your family, there's a good chance that you have it. So that's what you should be looking out for. And that's what you should be looking out for. And Tiana said that as well. Sandy says, they said, have fun with your vaccines. hey, look, some of the conversations people have had, Cheryl says, my nephew is more important than any political perspective. I completely agree. This is not a political, at least on my end, I'm not seeing this to be a political thing. It's my job to give you all the evidence-based information. I know after the Charlie Kirk thing, people were saying, I got a lot of unkind DMs from people, and people chose to unfollow, which is fine. We're not going to get sidetracked into that. But this is not a political thing right here. This is autism awareness. That's the goal right here. And let me get this right here so I can see what my people on TikTok are saying. M asks how old I am. M is probably autistic if you're asking. I'm kidding. I'm 32. What's the correlation between autism and walking on your tippy toes? So there are certain behaviors that autistic people could do that other people could do, but you see a lot within autism. I can't say that, having autism makes you walk on your tippy toes, but I have seen a lot of autistic people walk on their tippy toes. So once again, correlation, but not causation. I hope that makes sense. And Samantha says, I feel blessed. Human lie detector, expert pattern recognition. Samantha, are you on the spectrum? I see what's considered normal. Samantha, are you on the spectrum? Samantha said that she's a human lie detector and an expert at pattern recognition. Stephanie on Facebook, Stephanie says, that's how I got my diagnosis. I'm thankful for my son. Guys, I've seen this a lot, and we're going to continue to see this in the future where people come to the clinic with their child right? They come to the clinic with their child. Maybe their child isn't talking. Maybe they're behind on their developmental milestones. And the child gets diagnosed with autism. And throughout the whole process, the parent is sitting there and asking themselves questions and wondering why what their child is presenting with now is so similar to what they went through as a kid. And before you know it, then the mom and the dad gets diagnosed with autism. We see the same thing, a similar thing with ADHD. So that's why family history is so important, if you can get it. Nay on TikTok says, I love that you're doing this. Nay, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Nay. Someone said, I walk on the outer sides. Is that a thing? I can't say that walking on the outer sides, like, it means that you're autistic. Like, you could still have autism. Brian, what's going on? So now that we have established, I do walk on my tippy toes. So James walks on James walks on his tippy toes. James' kids walk on their tippy toes. 60% of James' kids have autism. James could be on the spectrum too. Is there a correlation here? Is there a link? And I don't know what is considered normal, guys. You can't ask me what's considered normal. Like, I used to pick my nose and eat it as a kid, so don't ask me what normal is. Because I am certainly not normal. And Jordan says, do you believe Tylenol is the cause? No, Tylenol is not the cause. Tylenol is not the cause, and let's go ahead and talk about Tylenol, right? So, Tylenol is not the cause of autism. And maybe 7 minutes ago I said there's no specific cause, not even genetics, but genetics is the biggest contributing factor, in my opinion, to the development of autism, is genetics. So that's number one. Like, that's number one. Now, there are a couple of other things that could lead to the development of autism. And with Tylenol, like I said, I have not seen any evidence that says that if you're pregnant and you take Tylenol, your child's going to be autistic. I have not seen any evidence that supports that. And I've looked. I looked in the past, and I looked again yesterday. I haven't seen anything. So that is not something that we're seeing. Now, could there be an association with taking Tylenol during pregnancy and your child potentially being autistic? There could be, but even if there is, I feel like it's such a minute thing. If it was somewhat significant, we would have picked this up in studies. So I don't think it's significant. Between acetaminophen use in pregnancy and genetics, is a much better explanation for why somebody has autism than any drug, not just Tylenol. So genetics is the main thing that we should be focusing on. So Tylenol, no, I haven't seen anything that supports the idea that Tylenol during pregnancy leads to autism. However, if we're going to be talking about medications that could potentially lead to the development of autism, all right, I have seen some evidence that suggests, and when I say this, don't take my words out of context. I'm recording my team, they can turn this into clips, so please don't take this out of context. But I've seen evidence that suggests that prenatal exposure to medications like Depakote, there's a link between that and autism. Now, how strong of a link? I don't think it's that strong, but there is a link. All right? And we've seen this with Depakote. The thing I'll say about Depakote, and the other name for Depakote is valproic acid, is if you're pregnant, you wouldn't be taking Depakote anyways. Depakote is one of those medications that if you're a lady and you're trying to get pregnant, I'm talking about people, because sometimes you can get pregnant and you don't know that you're pregnant. That's fine. Like, that happens every day. There's no shame in that. But if you're a lady and you're trying to get pregnant, okay? So it means that we're raw dogging it. Like, we're trying to get pregnant. You should talk to your psych and let your psych know that you're taking certain medications. I mean, psych would know, but if it's a new doctor provider, let them know, hey, I'm taking Depakote. You have to let them know about Depakote. Let them know about lithium. And the issue with Depakote, the reason why you would never be taking Depakote their pregnancy anyways is because if you're taking Depakote in the first trimester, there's a link between that and neural tube defects. So there is no world in which a pregnant woman, a woman who knows that she's pregnant, would be taking Depakote. You just wouldn't do it. You would come off the medication, and then we would find other ways to better control your mood. So I don't really worry about Depakote during pregnancy causing autism, because you wouldn't be taking Depakote no way, right? It's not a medication that you should be taking, you know, especially in the first trimester. So between Depakote and Tylenol, you know, you could take Tylenol in pregnancy. A lot of pregnant women take Tylenol, you know, and it helps with headaches. It helps with other types of, you know, body aches. And like I said, we haven't seen any evidence that has any type of statistical significance, you know, demonstrating that Tylenol leads to autism. But there could be an association. But if there is indeed an association, it's nothing that I would worry about personally. So the FDA, you know, has been given orders by the president, and they're keeping an eye on it. So that's cool. That's cool. But from when I went to go look at the evidence, I'm not seeing anything that makes me concerned. You know, so y'all are my family. So I'm not gonna tell y'all things I wouldn't tell my family. So let's say my old lady is pregnant. Let's say she gets pregnant tomorrow, and I see her reaching for a bottle of Tylenol. I'm not gonna stop her. So likewise, if you're pregnant and you have a headache, I wouldn't be too concerned about taking any Tylenol. And Bethany says, I did take Tylenol, but then again, I am neurodivergent. It was the neurodivergence in your genetics that probably led to your child being neurodivergent. That's a much better explanation than Tylenol. So, if we're talking about medications, I would worry about Depakote, but you wouldn't be taking that medication anyway. So, hope that makes any sense. Charlotte says, what if you took it a few years before getting pregnant? So, Charlotte, if you're talking about Depakote, if you take Depakote before you got pregnant, you're fine. It's more so taking Depakote while you're pregnant. Depakote and lithium, which are two good mood stabilizers, by the way. I know that we're streaming live on TikTok, and TikTok doesn't like when I talk about specific medications, so we'll just try not to talk about that too much. But in the first trimester, you know, you're worried about neural tube defects, so you wouldn't be taking that medication. But if you took it before you were pregnant, you're good. You're Gucci. You're fine. You're fine. And somebody asked on TikTok, are you concerned about how this blames women? I don't think this blames women. Maybe I'm not perceiving it in the right way, but I don't think it blames women for anything. So I just want to say that. And yeah, psych meds and pregnancy is tricky in general. All right, now let me get to the other potential causes of autism. Like I said, first and foremost, genetics is the biggest thing. Genetics, that is the thing that I have the most confidence in. That, you know, if somebody asks me, you know, why I believe that they're autistic, we would start looking back at your family history, and we do our best to put the pieces together. That's definitely what I would say. And Samantha says that she's pretty sure her dad is also autistic. So it made much sense once my son was diagnosed and I started to learn. So Samantha's father could be autistic. Samantha's son has autism. Samantha has autism. That's the type of patterns that we should be looking for. That's what makes sense to me. But a couple of other things that have, you know, been linked to autism according to the evidence. These are evidence-based. Maternal obesity. There's a link between that and autism. And look, none of these are as significant as genetics. So just keep in mind that genetics is the main thing. And Kelly, in terms of evaluations that I'm doing in California or anywhere else, I'll let my team handle that. We'll make announcements, so y'all won't be out of the loop. But maternal obesity, there's a link between that and autism. Parental age. I've seen some studies suggesting that when you have kids and you're much older, there's a link between that and autism, especially for men. So if you're a guy and you're having a child and you're 50, 55, 60, 65, as fellas, as long as everything works down there, like we can still sling it, we can still have kids. So if you're an older parent, I've seen some studies that suggest that advanced parental age, there's a link between that and autism. Maternal obesity, trauma during pregnancy. For example, hypoxia, not getting enough oxygen. I've seen a link between that and the development of autism. So these are other potential, contributing factors. I don't want to say causes. I think I put causes on the title of this video. I don't like that. I don't like that title, but that's what I wrote. I like contributing factors. I think that's a better title. I don't like causes, but I wrote causes. And I like what Bunny is saying on TikTok. Suggests. And when we're talking about something like this, we have to be very specific with the words that we choose. We got to be very specific with the words that we choose. If you're a pregnant 7-year-old, I don't know if that's a trick question. Is that a trick question? Kobe, what's going on, my guy? Is that a trick question? Nisa Bear, I appreciate you. Autism Mama in LA. Nisa Bear, I appreciate you. Somebody said about a 7-year-old pregnant woman. So, I know Sarah in the Bible was 92, I think. But in today's time, I haven't seen a pregnant 7-year-old woman. That's funny. What? Miss Flores on Facebook says, 2 of my children have autism, ADHD, and I feel like I've been masking most of my life. See, guys, and that's what we should be spending our time talking about. So, like I said, I think this is a net positive, and I don't want to turn this into a political thing. But the fact that RFK and Donald Trump are talking about autism is a positive thing. It gives us a chance to educate the administration, because keep in mind, I don't ever remember reading where RFK went to school to learn about this. I don't remember Donald Trump going to school to learn about these things. So I'm not upset, or I'm not, like all angry. It's more so an opportunity to educate our leaders. I went to the White House twice to work with the former administration. So if RFK and Donald Trump come calling and they want me to come to the White House and explain this to them, I'm going to explain to them. My only request is I'm going to ask the president to work his magic so that way, the Tennessee Titans can win a couple of games. So maybe get the other team to throw the game, or, pull some strings, but I'm tired of seeing my Titans lose. There's only so much my heart can take. Somebody saying that there was an Indian woman who had a child last year at 75. Can somebody confirm this? Can anybody confirm this? There was an Indian woman last year who had a child and she was 75. Can somebody confirm this? Lindsay, how are you? Dr. Lindsay Hill is on the live stream. This is a good time to plug in the Psych NP Bootcamp. I just want to go ahead and plug that in. And I'm not going to talk too much about that. We're going to stay on topic here, but I had an honest conversation with my girlfriend yesterday, and I was telling her that if I had a family member who was in dire need of a psychiatric provider, would I go with a psychiatric nurse practitioner or would I go with a psychiatrist? And I told her that even though I'm a nurse practitioner, I would go to psychiatrist because a lot of the education that, some of my fellow psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners have is not sufficient, And I love this profession more than anything. I've done my best to, uphold it, but it doesn't mean that we're less than psychiatrists. It just means that we have to just continue educating ourselves. And Dr. Lindsay Hill has a boot camp where she educates psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners. And I just want to plug that in because if we as providers get better at diagnosing things, then we'll be able to look at somebody and say, oh, that person has ADHD. Like what we're talking about tonight. This is what we're talking about tonight. Somebody comes in and they say, oh, my grandfather was autistic, my aunt had autism, my dad has autism, my son has autism. And they have all the symptoms. You're going to be better at diagnosing because you went to a boot camp, because you got the proper help. So as providers, we should be educating ourselves constantly. And I make it a point to educate myself, even if I'm in a mode where I'm not really seeing patients and I'm doing a lot of filming skits in LA. I'm still digging through the literature because I want to make sure that the information I'm giving my community is accurate. So, if you're a provider and you feel like the education that you have is not the best, Sandy, what's going on with the providers in Texas? Are they not the best? I've been to Texas. So yeah, the link is in my bio for the Psych NP Bootcamp if you're a provider who wants to get the help. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, don't look at it as a bad thing. As my schedule frees up, I will join the Psych NP Bootcamp because I can learn a lot. I can learn a lot more too. So I want to learn. I'm a constant learner. I'm always learning. Nani, I do have a New York license, but I don't think I've ever used it. I don't think I've ever used my New York license. Kobe, I don't have a voice thing on, but this thing that's connected, it makes my voice sound a little weird on TikTok. I hope I sound handsome on Facebook and YouTube. Lisa missed the earlier part. Lisa says, I missed what you thought caused autism. Could you repeat? Okay, sure. I'll repeat that. And Sandy says, money buys competency. Yes, Sandy, only if you learn. You can get a Psych NP boot camp or you can buy courses, but if you don't learn, you're not, it's a waste of your money. So yeah, I mean, the Psych NP boot camp is not free and courses aren't free, but you have to learn, learn from everybody, including your patients. But the causes, I said maybe like 10 minutes ago that I wish I would have titled it better. I wish I would have called it the contributing factors, because I don't know of any one thing to be the cause of autism. But if there's one big contributing factor, the thing that has the most evidence behind it is genetics. So that would be the main thing I'm looking at if we're talking about what leads to the development of autism, genetics. If both of your parents have autism and you come to the clinic, you have a strong sense of justice, you hate it when people switch up things at the last second, you're hypersensitive to a lot of things, you struggle with sensory overload, you take things literally, you get offended because you didn't understand that somebody was saying something that wasn't necessarily a joke. If you communicate differently from other people and you've always felt like an outsider, if you feel like you have to recharge after brief social interactions, if both of your parents have autism and one of your grandparents has autism and your child has autism and you struggle with all of these things based off of what we know about genetics and how you present in the clinic, there's a good chance that we should be looking at a potential diagnosis of autism for you. So that's what I'm saying. So that's the most important thing. That's what we should be focusing on. But other contributing factors, advanced paternal age, but also advanced maternal age. So if your dad was 65 when he had you, there could be a link between that. If your mother took Depakote while she was pregnant with you. Could be a potential link there. If your mother was overweight or had gestational diabetes when she had you, potential link there. If there was any trauma and, there was any hypoxia, didn't get the oxygen that you needed, there's a potential link there. But none of those things are bigger than genetics. Genetics is so important. So important, man. Lois says she's getting evaluated tomorrow. Okay. Marilyn, I appreciate you. Marilyn on TikTok, I appreciate you. Oh, yeah, I can't wait to join you on the Psych and Be Boot Camp. I'm going to come through. I'm going to learn. I'm going to have my pencil and my paper. I'm going to come and take notes. I want to get better. Autism is likely underdiagnosed in the Amish community. I don't know too much about the Amish community, so I got to learn. Kobe, yes, you do sound different. Damn, I was hoping I sounded handsome on TikTok. Damn. Gotta work on that. Eve says, I haven't had the best experience with providers in Texas, but I also deal with the VA. So, I think you meant Virginia. VA or Virginia? Oh, no, you said the VA. So, you mean like the VA. Gotcha. But, in terms of getting a diagnosis of autism, one thing that I didn't have, on my list here that I want to, mention. And Misty, I appreciate you. I hope that this is making your day better. Misty Lee, I appreciate you. Lori on YouTube, how are you? How are you? I need to have a better layout to where I can see my YouTubers as well, and my Facebookers and my TikTokers. I also want to take the time to plug my Twitch in. My Twitch is at Dr. Kodo Sarfo. We have not been consistent on Twitch, but I've been doing too much traveling, so we will become much more consistent on Twitch. Can you please come to Kansas? Ginger, y'all want me to come to Kansas? If y'all are in Kansas and y'all want me to come out, and y'all are friendly and nice, I might think about it. But one thing, Zoe, my goodness, this girl's such a brat. One thing that I do want to talk about when it comes to receiving an autism diagnosis that you as a patient have no control over really is the variability about the provider that you get. Once again, the provider that you get is so important. So your provider has to know what they're looking. And this is not just a problem with psychiatric nurse practitioners and you needing to go to the boot camp. I'm seeing this with psychiatrists. I'm seeing this with PCPs. This is just everybody. I've seen psychiatrists who have a lot of training, not get the right diagnosis. I've seen this stuff. So it's not how much education you have, but it's how much education you continue to, to allow yourself to get after school. Go KU, okay, the Jayhawks. Y'all want me to come to Nashville. It won't be hard for y'all to convince me to do that. But your provider, depending on how good your provider is at diagnosing, or the questions that they ask, and your provider, and also the system in which your provider is in. Because let's say you're seeing a psych who, it's like quick appointments, like you're in and out in like 15 minutes. You don't have a lot of time to talk. It's more like, oh, my meds are good. I'm Gucci. Just refill my meds, whatever. But if somebody, I've said this before, but if somebody's been depressed for years on end, like let's say you're talking to a patient and they're 27, and you ask them how long they've been depressed for, and they say that they've been depressed since 3rd grade. Like, that's not depression. There's something that's leading to that depression. And if you ask more and more questions, you can figure out that depression is not just depression. It could be, neurodivergence. It could be the person having ADHD or the person being autistic. because if you're autistic and you don't know that you're autistic, you're gonna have a fair amount of CPTSD. You're more than likely gonna be depressed. You know, if you don't have an explanation for why you are the way you are. So if your provider isn't asking you the right questions, if they're just giving you out pills, you know, you're screwed. So if you're watching this, I'm here to tell you that you're screwed. Tell your provider to get their diagnostic skills up. But yeah, the person that you meet, like it, you know, and this is not just with autism, this is with all mental health conditions. It's with bipolar disorder. So come here, come. Don't trip over my setup. But bipolar disorder, people wait 10 to 15 years after they first have symptoms to get diagnosed. You know, and then there's people who are autistic and, you know, they're being diagnosed at 47, 37, 28. You know, I've mentioned this before and I'll say it again. Think about the decisions that you have to make as a woman. Let's say you're 37 years old. As a woman, you may have married, you picked what you want to do for a career, you probably had kids. You've done so much without understanding who you are. That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary. And Cheryl, the leucovorin trials, it's promising so far. I think it's still pretty early, but it is promising so far for leucovorin. But you're going through life and you're 42, 49. I had a patient. I kid you not, I had a patient. The oldest patient I diagnosed with ADHD was 67. Isn't that crazy? Now, she, you know, looked like she was probably like 42, you know? Like, I aspire to be like that when I'm 67, you know? I could tell that she's just like an in-shape person. She and her husband just like, you know, those people that are like really in shape, they work out all the time and they run. And I mean, she looked great for her age, but 67 is still 67. That's almost 7 decades of not really knowing who you are. It's kind of scary, you know? But, and this is why it's helpful to go into the office and then tell your provider, I think I have this, you know? Now, you're not the expert, and you know, you're not getting paid to diagnose yourself, but it can be helpful to say, hey, I think I have this, or do you think I have this? You know, just ask him, hey, you think I got ADHD? You think I'm on the spectrum? What's the worst they can say? Oh, no, I don't do all that now. You on your own. They're not going to say that. I mean, they could, but I don't think that they're going to say that. Brittany says, why is it so hard to get that genetic test and verify autism and other genetic issues? What's a genetic test going to do? There's no objective test that like you do and then it says, boom, you have autism. Zoe, come here. Zoe, be nice. Be nice, Zoe. Be nice. Be nice, Zoe. My ex found out he was bipolar in his 20s. If you find out that you have bipolar disorder in your 20s, that's on the good end. That's on the good end, honestly. Do we do virtual appointments? Sierra, I see that you're in Michigan. I don't think I have a Michigan license. But hopefully the team will expand one day. I got dreams like Martin Luther King. I got dreams. And Lisa, I think that Trump talking about town hall is, I mean, the administration talking about autism in general gives us a chance to educate them about the condition. You know, I haven't seen a link between town hall and the development of autism, but they can be wrong. And they could be early. They could be early. I'm not saying that they're completely wrong, but I haven't seen any evidence that suggests that town hall use during pregnancy leads to autism. So there could be an association, but I haven't seen evidence that is, you know, making me be too concerned. Missouri license. I don't have a Missouri license. I don't even believe in the fact that we should have individual licenses. We should have a license for the whole U.S. You feel me? My opinion is pregnant women shouldn't take anything. All right, so what pregnant women should do is between the pregnant woman and her OB and her psych and her PCP and her support system, her partner, her, just her whole family. That's who should decide what pregnant women do. But look, sometimes I remember there was one lady many years ago. We were giving her antipsychotics while she was pregnant because the risks were, the risk of not being medicated were quite severe. So we were giving her antipsychotics while she was pregnant, and she turned out to do pretty well. And the baby came out good. So just depends on what's going on. Wasn't the Chiefs game 2 days ago? Y'all got me thinking that. My YouTubers got me thinking that the Chiefs are playing today. I'm like, I didn't set my fancy lineup. Sandra says my voice sounds different. It's because it's this setup. I'm gonna use a different sound setup when I go live because people keep saying my voice sounds different, and just so that in real life I sound very, very good. This is not a representation of who I am. Please explain being neurodivergent. It just pretty much means that you're awesome. You see the world a little differently. It sounds normal in mine. Okay, alright, cool. Well, for those of y'all who are not hearing my voice correctly, just know that my voice is very sultry. It's very healing. It's very therapeutic in real life. So if I sound high-pitched, don't believe the hype. That's all fake news. That is all fake news. And Cree says, I have bipolar 2, but the right meds ended my episodes. Right. You got to get on the right medications. You got to get on the right medications. But you talked about it in a negative way. I didn't see the actual press conference with the president. Looked at the articles. So, come here. I will say this about our president, and I don't think this is a political take, but try not to read too much into what the president says. Still listen to him, no disrespect. I'm not gonna, encourage any disrespect towards any of our leaders in the U.S. because we're on the same team here. But if I feel like the president is one of those people that, if he's talking to you and he can get underneath your skin, he'll probably do that. So, but if you're talking to the president and a lot of what he says, like you just stay emotionally stoic, he'll be like, okay, all right, well, I was just talking, So just the fact that, we're talking about autism, like I said, the most important thing here is use this as an opportunity to shed light on the condition and define what autism is. And it means that you experience the world in a different way and you communicate differently from others. So that's what autism means. And then, we can start talking about how to create a world where autistic individuals, feel safe, feel heard, feel respected. The unaliving rate is so much higher for autistic individuals. Loneliness is through the roof for autistic individuals. Isolation, unemployment. So there's a lot of, struggles that, you could have when you're autistic. And there's a path that we can take this whole conversation and turn it into how to best support autistic individuals. Like, I think we can do that. So this thing is more so a net positive. It just depends on how we look at it. And I know that, now in America, it's illegal to be objective about anything. We got to take a side. I ain't taking no sides. My side is the side of the people. I'm going to find a way to make everything a good thing, And, we can really figure out, like, what laws can be passed, to help out neurodivergent folks. And look, I don't know too much about laws or I don't know anything about that. I barely passed, social studies, But there's a chance for us to turn this into a very positive thing. And that's what I'm the most hopeful about. And Cree says, it really feels lonely, bro. I'm sure. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. And I think that if you're autistic, finding a way to lean into all the communities that you have, if there's a local church that, you can get some help from, if you can get help from an online community, kind of like what we're doing here. We built an online community where, it's okay to be who you are. It's not okay to struggle, for a long time, but if we can eliminate the shame, we can put together a system and then we can start to feel better. And right now, I think we just crossed like 5 million followers on all platforms. So I'd say that we have the biggest neurodivergent community in the world. And finding a way to get some groups going is going to be a goal of mine, because you could be somebody who's autistic and you're living in Kansas and you're lonely and isolated, but you can find another neurodivergent in Charlotte, North Carolina, who also enjoys playing Call of Duty. And, they also enjoy fantasy football, or like they have your special interest. So there's going to be ways that we can use, online communities to feel like we're not so disconnected. So those are things that I'm thinking about. Like, it's not just, like, I do look at, I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all and say that I don't look at numbers. I'm too fixated about how many views I get a month. And, if we didn't hit 100 million monthly views, sometimes I'm depressed and I can be vain and insecure. All those things are true. But I want to shift my attention to how we can have a better community, how people can start to connect with each other, because we're in a time and age where what you're interested in is what you see on social media. Like, you don't see the people that you follow. Like, y'all know how many times I've been at the Atlanta airport, which is where I just seem to meet all my followers. And people will come up to me and say, "Oh, I love your content, but I haven't seen you on my TikTok feed in like 3 or 4 years." Nowadays, when people come up to me, they'll say that they see me from Facebook and from YouTube Shorts, even though TikTok is where I started off at. So, algorithms will show you what you're interested in as opposed to who you follow. And I know Gary Vee, that's like my social media mentor. He says that we're in an age of interest media, not social media. And I like that. It means that every day you have to make the best possible content and connect with your people. But if we're in the age of interest media, that means that if you're a neurodivergent person and you have a couple of unique special interests, you could find other people who like the same thing. And those connections are going to be deeper than the friendships that you have that are based off of proximity. So you being friends with, the people in your city because, like none of y'all have left Charleston, South Carolina. So all y'all, like you grew up together, you went to the same school, so y'all are friends, but you don't have a lot in common. Now you can meet people who like the same things that you like. There's a chance to build some powerful online communities. And Alex on Facebook says, your videos make me feel like there is a chance I might find a relationship with someone who gets me. That's my goal for every single person out here. Because there's no better feeling than being weird with somebody that you actually like. And I'm not talking about lust, like, oh, you like him because he got money, or, you like her because she got a big butt. All that stuff is cool, but I'm talking about like when you actually like somebody. Not even love. Throw the love away. Like when you like somebody and they like you back. Y'all are into the same type of things. There's no better feeling. Same thing with friendships. When you find people who are into the same things that you are into. If I meet a random person at the airport and they're a Titans fan, we can talk about the Titans for hours on end. I could talk about the Super Bowl team in 1999. I could talk about us trading away A.J. Brown and all of us going into depression. And so when you find people who have the same interests that you have, that's hella dope. So, there's still a couple of things like, online safety. There are bad guys and bad girls online, and figuring out how to keep people safe online, especially kids and minors, is going to be a thing. So as we build community, we just have to make sure that we, just have some general safety rules, So those are all things that I hope we get better at as we move forward. But, I don't look at the news coming from the White House. as a bad thing. I look at it as a chance for us to really galvanize it and start talking about autism in the way that we're able to help autistic individuals. So, all right, so go. Kennel. Zo. Kennel. Good girl, Kennel. Good girl. Now she hears Kennel and she knows that she just has to go away. Don't look at me like that. You're making me feel bad. Kennel. You ain't gonna trick me now. I know how you girls are. Chrissy, I think you can just share a live to somebody on Facebook and then they would get it. Emperor Inspire says, it seems my personality type is not compatible with partnerships. Guys, when you're neurodivergent, I really feel like the neurodivergent brain at a default is not set up to do relationships. You space out, you forget things, you get annoyed easily. It's very hard for us to have relationships. And it doesn't mean that we should use our mental illness as an excuse to, to be an ass. No, we shouldn't do that. But we should find ways to coexist with people that we want to be with. I'm married to the game. I'm married to the game. We have to find ways to coexist with people that we want to be with. And it's hard for me. It's hard for me. I do my best every single day. And I don't have all the answers on relationships. All I know is that when you're neurodivergent, it makes it harder to have a relationship. I wholeheartedly believe that. Laura, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Laura. At my church in Atlanta growing up, we had this saying called, it's nice to be nice. So compliments and, compliments that make the world go around. Compliments make the world go around. But there are things that you can do if you're neurodivergent and you're in a relationship. There are things that you can do to have consistency. I have this, not a rule, but I do this thing with my girl where we have date night once a week. And I find that whenever we're not able to have date night, that's when arguments happen and, paid things lead to disagreements. So being consistent with things is going to be how you improve confidence and how you strengthen relationships. But make no question about it, it's difficult to be neurodivergent and in a relationship. It's extremely difficult. We get moody. We don't want to be disturbed sometimes. We hyperfixate on certain things. You have times where you don't want to be around people. You have times when you're, hella horny, and you have times when you don't want to be touched. Like, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say. If you know, you know. Adrienne says, I agree. I realized when I was dating, I was the most unhappy. I really enjoy being single. There's a certain type of freedom that comes with being single. Like, you're free. You get to do what you want to do. Baby Lily on YouTube, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's very freeing to be single. And there's this art that I think we need to learn. And then I'll get off and take this dog out. I know she's been waiting. Zoe, you've done a good job. I appreciate you, Zoe. Thank you for being patient. But there's an art that neurodivergent people should probably learn. And it's the art of learning how to be single while in a relationship. And this revolves around autonomy. I make those demand avoidance videos where I talk about how if you're neurodivergent, you don't like being told what to do. And sometimes the hidden expectations or the expectations of relationships is going to drive you crazy. Like, if you don't hold the door open for your girl, it's an issue. If you don't compliment her all the time, it's an issue. And likewise, if she doesn't do this for you, it's an issue. Those hidden expectations can sometimes, screw us over. Because when you feel like you have to do something, it becomes a burden. You're like, So finding ways to retain your autonomy and independence while being in a relationship is something that I think would really help out a lot of us. Like, You can be married, but you're still single. And I'm not talking about cheating. Don't clip this out and go and cheat on your partner and say that. I told you to go cheat. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about retaining your autonomy while being in a relationship. So you're in a relationship, but you're still single. I feel like if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And other people will say, "Oh, I can go cheat." Nah, you can't go cheat. I mean, you can, but that's not what we promote around here. Crystal says she doesn't like people a lot. Okay, no, demand avoidance is real. It's real. The fact that you have to do something every single day, I don't want to have to do that. This is the fact that I have to is like, you know, like I deal with this. You know, I met my girl. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the most beautiful girl. Like, I love your smile. I love your butt. I love how you smell. And then after a while, you know, like the dopamine wears off, and then you return back to like who you really are. And then they're upset because you're not complimenting them as much. And I'm like, every damn day I gotta compliment you, like every day. Like I gotta say something nice about you every day, you know. And me being somebody who struggles with demand avoidance, I don't want to feel like I have to get you flowers. I have to compliment you. Like when it's like that, then I'm like, now I feel like withholding a compliment just because I want to play this petty game with you. I like those moments where I'm just sitting down across from you and you're quiet, and I'm like, you have a great smile. Did I ever tell you how beautiful you are? But sometimes you have to compliment when you don't feel like doing it. So it's give and take. If you want to be in a relationship, if you want to have friends and you're neurodivergent, sometimes you're going to have to get over your demand avoidance and do the thing that you don't feel like doing. You know? So sometimes you have to just do that. And other times we can work to find ways to be, you know, more independent, more autonomous. So it's give and take, you know. You gotta give a little to get a little. And Adrienne says, "Nah, I'd rather just be single. I don't want to get married or have kids, so I don't see the point." Well, Adrienne, look, if you don't want to get married and you don't want to have kids, ain't nothing wrong with being single. There's nothing wrong with being single. I don't know why society makes it so bad for people to be single. Now, if you're neurodivergent and you're single, you probably don't care. But, you know, in the neurotypical world, when you don't show up to certain places with a +1, people are repulsed. Imagine going to a wedding and you ain't got no +1. People are like, where's your +1? You're not married? And I come from the South. In the South, you know, if you're not married at a certain age, people are wondering what's wrong with you. As a guy, if you're not married in the South, you know, like, let's say you get to like 40 years old and you're not married in the South, people start to wonder if you're gay. This is how it goes. If you're a woman, you're not married by 25 in the South, you're finished. You're done. You go to social events and people look at you and they're whispering and they're gossiping about you. You know, they're calling you bad things. They're calling you loose and promiscuous. You know, there's some societal expectations that are levied upon us that are not fair. You know, like just because you're 27 and you're unmarried, it doesn't make you a promiscuous woman. You maybe just didn't find your person yet. But in the South, they'll say a couple of things about you. If you're 45, you're not married as a guy, you're not gay. I mean, you could be gay if you're gay, right? If you're gay, then cool. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're a guy and you're straight and you're not married by 40, it doesn't mean that you're gay, you know? So society's going to make it weird for you to go to the movies by yourself or, you know. All that stuff is just dumb. Like, I'll go out by myself. Go eat by yourself. Who cares? Who the hell cares? You know, but people make you feel bad for it. So you have a lot of shame around doing things by yourself. But like Adrienne said, she don't want to be married. She don't want kids. She likes being single. There's a lot of peace in being single. Like, I mean, of course, it took me a while to work myself, but I've never not enjoyed being single. I've always enjoyed being single. You know, sometimes I'll talk about how much I like being single, and my girl's like, are you trying to tell me something? No, I'm not saying I don't like you, but when you're single, it's liberating. And if you enjoy being by yourself, then when you're with somebody, that person really knows that you want to be with them and not just because you're bored. Like, you actually want to be with that person because you like them. Not because you're like, all right, I'm bored. It's about to be cuffing season. You know, I need somebody to, you know, rub up on. I need somebody to make friction with, you know, because it's about to get cold. I need somebody to get in my pants. You know how it gets. You know how it gets. Like, it's about to get colder. Cuffing season is upon us. Be careful. Cuffing season is officially September. I don't think we're in cuffing season yet, but we're like a week or two away from cuffing season. So just be careful out there. Cuffing season is upon us. Grace says, I love being single and can't stand dating. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And Chris says, my voice is going in and out of different pitches. I'm going to get my team to investigate this, because I should be sounding good. Hey, John, I have a quick question. I'm getting this comment online where I'm live right now, and I'm getting it from people on TikTok, not on YouTube or Facebook, but they're saying that my voice sounds like high-pitched, like it goes in and out of different pitches. Can you just do some research and see what leads to this happening? But next time I go live, I'll just switch out the audio, and I'll go with the loud mic, and that should make things better. Thank you. Yeah, y'all gonna hear my real voice. Y'all gonna hear my sultry real voice. And Rachel says, isn't it more embarrassing to settle down with someone that isn't right for you than to be true? Yes, Rachel, this is one of the biggest things I see nowadays. People settling, and we're going to have to laugh. Man, guys, cuffing season is upon us. Cuffing season is upon us. We're going to have a live stream where we talk about, you know, people who settle. And look, I'm not a big fan of hookup culture, you know. But at one point, you know, I was young, wild, and free. I'm not a big fan of hookup culture, but I think even worse than that is settling down with somebody or getting into a relationship with somebody that you don't want to be with because you're lonely or you're horny. Like, that's not fair to that person. It's not fair to you. And you can just be by yourself. Like, you can just be by yourself. There's nothing wrong with being by yourself. And Rachel says, I've never hated myself more than when I've been in a relationship. Working on myself now. Rachel, respect. Respect. And then when Rachel does find a partner for her, that means that she actually likes that person. Because Rachel doesn't like people like that. Rachel wants to be by herself. So if Rachel's like, all right, I want this person to come into my space. When somebody's in your space and you don't want them to be in your space, it feels like a violation. You feel like you've been violated. Like, you've officially violated me. You've come into my intimate space and I don't even like you. You know? Wait. Oh, yes, we've gone off topic. We do that around here. We do go off topic. And every now and then I'll reply to, random comments, some trolls. Somebody saying, do you wish you were a little handsome? How can you look at me and not think that I'm handsome? You might need LASIK eye surgery. What states are your offices in? We have so many licenses. I'll have my team work on that, but I think we're set up for Alaska, Arizona, Washington, California. Yeah. Right now, with my psych practice, I'm kind of like Michael Jordan, and I'm waiting for my Scottie Pippen. I'm looking for a team. We'll get that team. There's a lot of questions that there's a lot of things that I want to solve in the psychiatry world. I still have unfinished business in Hollywood, but there's a lot of things that I want to do in psychiatry. So don't you worry, we'll make announcements. Amy says, if we are wanting to date and try dating apps, should we mention it in our profile or wait until we get to know the person to tell them? Amy, that's a great question. And that gives me an idea. That's an outstanding question, Amy. Amy, outstanding question. Let me send it to my assistant. That's an outstanding question, Amy. I gotta do that or I'll forget. I'm sorry. Hey John, I'm sending this screenshot from Amy here just as a reminder so that we can do a live stream on this topic because I don't want to forget. Thank you. Amy, what a question. Amy, what a question. Amy from Corpus Christi. Actually, I'm going to stop. Amy, I'm putting all your business out on the internet. I'm a chill, Amy. I'm a chill. Amy, unless you want me to, intentionally, put your information out there, you might find your neurodivergent love of your life. But Amy's question is an appropriate one. If we are wanting to date and try dating apps, should we mention it in our profile or wait until we get to know the person to tell them? I've always believed that the mental health conversation is a second date conversation. However, when you're on a first date with somebody and it's going really well and you're neurodivergent, you know how it is. You start to get deep. You start to talk about, your childhood and where you grew up and the things that you like. And sometimes first dates can last for hours on end. Like, you might crash or So there's a couple of different ways that we can take that. Give me some time to think about it. My gut reaction is if you're on a dating app. Now, I'm not familiar with what the dating apps are doing nowadays. But if you're on a dating app, if there's a way to put that you're neurodivergent in there, I just feel like it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I don't think it's too bad. Yeah. And like I said, I have to familiarize myself with what the dating apps are doing nowadays. I don't, do dating apps. I was at an event. I was at this influencer event 2 years ago in LA, and this influencer comes up to me, and he's like, "Yo, my sister matched with you on a dating app." I said, "I'm not on any dating apps. I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "No, my sister matched with you on a dating app." I said, "Look, I am not on any dating app. I don't know what to tell you." And he was like, "No, my sister swore it was you. Like, she showed it to me, and she said that like you were on this dating app, like Hinge or Bumble." I said, "Look, if y'all see Kojo Sarfo on a dating app, do not click it. Okay, that's not Kojo, that's Cujo, and he's gonna bite you. So if y'all see me on a dating app, block that person. Do not show up on a date with them. If you do show up on a date with Cujo, keep your location on, and don't say that I didn't tell you, because that is not me. That is not me. Be careful. Please be careful. That is not me." And Grace says, "Nobody likes to have deep conversation on dates." Guys, look, we're in an interesting time right now when it comes to dating. Chandra, how are you? Shout out to the great... Damn, I fucked your name up. Chandra, why do I keep messing up your name? My goodness, I'm sorry. Shout out to the great Chandra. We have this... Actually, yeah, a good time to plug it. We have a series that's coming exclusively to Facebook. I might post it on TikTok as well. But this series called One Night Stand with a Narcissist with Chandra and I. So if y'all on TikTok, go follow Chandra Delano. I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. But yeah, go check that out. It's going to be really, really good. Right now, we shot the thing like 2 weeks ago in LA, and it's in the post-production phase, and the clips look really good. So if you've ever dated a narcissist, if you've been a narcissist in a relationship, hopefully you can relate to that series. So yeah, shout out to Chandra. Michelle says, "You're super handsome, no crazy." Michelle, if you see me on a dating app, it's not me, okay? It's a fake me. So do not go on this date like this person's gonna they're gonna hurt you. It's a fake me. It's Cujo. And guys, like Sierra's saying, I'm a little concerned about people trying to prey on you if you say you're neurodivergent. Yes, there's and Laura, we haven't had a cheers a water break. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm out of water, so I gotta go buy some water. I'll go buy some water, and then tomorrow we'll have a water break. But I do apologize. But if you're worried about somebody taking advantage of you because you're neurodivergent, that is a thing. I don't think people are looking for like autistic or ADHD people to prey on, but we live in an evil world in general where people are just trying to prey on you. You know, not all the time, but people can do that. So just something to be mindful of, and just exercise caution. Laura is saying on Facebook, stopping yourself over info dumping on the first date is so hard, coupled with topic jumping constantly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look, if you're vibing with somebody in the first date, because look, people like to get on the internet, and then I know how y'all are. Y'all like to cap on here. Y'all be capping. Y'all hop on the internet and say, "Oh well, no. If on the first date, I'm never gonna spend more than 30 minutes." But like when you like somebody, like y'all are vibing for hours. You know how it is. Like when you actually meet somebody that you like, y'all vibe for a long time. A long time. I did take ADHD medication while I was in school. What grade? 26th grade. I don't know. I was in grad school when I took ADHD medications, and there's no shame in my game. The ADHD meds, it changed my life. But my mom thought that I was on drugs, and I was like, I am on drugs, but I got these from the doctor. I got them from the real plug. I was teaching at Augusta University at that time, and there were rumors on campus that I was on, I think like cocaine or something like that. Like, people had all kinds of rumors and stuff, but I didn't let it affect me. The medications were very helpful for me, so there's no shame in my game. Chandra, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. The quality is so nice on it. I'm excited. Did you and your wife have the same thoughts when you first met? It's not my wife. It's my girlfriend. She didn't know who I was, but I'm not gonna say I could tell she was neurodivergent, but we were doing some form of info dumping on each other. But as much as I can say, I don't say too much now because just having to protect myself. But as much as I can say, I was saying a couple of things. People trying to prey on you when you're neurodivergent. The Scottie Pippen joke. Oh, I'm happy you like that one, Nene. I'm happy we still have Nenes in this world. You had autism? Not to my knowledge. I could. Maybe I'll diagnose myself. Maybe I'll assess myself one day. What's the thing to keep a relationship going? You wanting it to be a thing? You gotta put in a lot of work. Like, guys, relationships are supposed to cost you. It's supposed to cost you. Friendships are supposed to cost you. I think we've forgotten that there's a cost to friendship nowadays. Like, I thought every friend group, takes time out of, you have people who take time out of their schedule to go pick up, the homies from the airport. Like, as busy as I get, I will drive to LAX and pick up David and Kevin and Big Mike, the guys I grew up with. I'll pick them up from the airport. Because first of all, it can cost you $200 to get from LAX to my spot in LA. I'm not gonna make you spend all that money. If I can go through LA traffic for you, that means that I love you. You're one of the homies. Like, friendship is supposed to cost you. Relationships are supposed to cost you. I know that, but it's been an adjustment for me. But it's worth it. It's supposed to cost you. It's gonna cost you money. I saw a study that said that men on average spend $15,000 a year on the woman that they're dating. I'll argue that that's probably a little bit more, but it's supposed to cost you, but we are in a very interesting time when it comes to dating nowadays. It's a very interesting time. Fewer people are having, I don't know about the women, but men are having less and less sex. I don't think that there's ever been a time in the modern age where we've had so many men who are not having girlfriends or doing the makey ficky. So it's an interesting time for dating, not just for the neurodivergence, but for all of us. So navigating this dating field, I am constantly searching for answers as well. I wouldn't advise taking relationship advice from somebody who, met their person when we had the iPhone 3. Still take advice on how to keep a relationship going, but advice on how to find a person in today's digital age with AI and fake humans, and in a couple of years from now, people are going to be dating AI humans. People will marry AI humans. I know you think I sound crazy now, but that is where we're headed, yo. We're headed there. We're headed there. How can one improve their relationship when you have bipolar disorder 2 during a depressive episode? So, is it Lucci? What you do is you would tell your partner, you would say, hey, I have bipolar 2 disorder, and this is how this disorder affects me. They still should go and do their research on bipolar 2, but you let them know, hey, sometimes I get depressed. Every now and then I get hypomanic, and for the most part, I spend days on end in bed, and it's not because I don't like you, but it's because I'm going through a hard time. Explain this to them, and if that person is your person, they'll at least try to understand you. Jessica says, my relationship thrives in space, and if he doesn't breathe or chew near me. And these are key things that you have to know. Because if somebody's chewing in your ear, that's annoying. That's it's not cool. You feel it in the force when you meet another neurodiverse person. It's funny. And let me see. Yeah, people will marry AI humans. It's coming. Moving forward, people will struggle to have genuine human connection. Human connection and human touch is going to be something that you could start a business around. You could probably start a business just going on walks with people and holding their hand. It's going to be a real thing, guys. It's going to be a real thing. Ashley says, you remind me of my ex. Well, that's a compliment to him. Nene said, I saw a show where someone wanted to marry a building in a car. Mickey Ficky. The first cool ex that week. I start the business. I think you'll do well. A business where you hold hands. Ooh, that's gonna be a good. That's gonna be a good topic. From Amy. If we are wanting to date and try dating apps, should we mention it in our profile or wait until we get to know the person and tell them? That would be a good live stream, y'all. That would be a good live stream. Alright, let me see. Oh yeah, I'm from Ghana. I'm from Ghana, West Africa. Crow says, sorry to say, man, but it's hard finding guys with your mindset. Perhaps, but if we're being honest, if there's a guy who has my mindset, but he doesn't have any financial resources, that guy is not going anywhere in the dating world. So mindset is important. Yes, you need it. But as a guy, that's what we're thinking about. If our money is not right, generally we're not thinking about a relationship. Adrienne says, I just traveled out of the U.S. if I want someone to hold my hand. Hand holding overseas is so normal. Oh, really? Rachel, great point. Rachel, great point right there. Rachel says, Kojo, will you ever play the neurodivergent in your videos? It is always the other person, Rachel. I'm screenshotting that because I have some ideas about switching the roles, but we've never done that. So Rachel, yes, that will come. That will come. And there is a business where men pay to cuddle with women. I feel like I've heard about something like that. And then he says there's a service where you can hire someone to cuddle with. It's supposed to say appropriate. It's supposed to say appropriate. I've heard of these businesses before. And Laura is telling me on Facebook, in Japan, let me not laugh. You can pay people to cuddle you to sleep. To each their own. To each their own. To each their own. And we will see more businesses like that pop up. Even if it's not just like that. Just businesses centered around intimacy. We will see these things pop up. Yeah, cuddle you to sleep. Read you a bedtime story. Hire a boyfriend for the day. Okay. Crow says this guy's having no money, no knowledge. Logan, I appreciate you. Laura, I will say it is harder to date nowadays. It's a bit harder. It's a bit harder. It is a bit harder. In Japan, you can rent friends, boyfriends, and grandmas. What? I'm finna go to Japan and rent me a grandma for the day. But I can't cheat on my grandma. I got one grandma. I started to be a cuddler, but I got too creeped out to go through my first cuddle session. I would love to have somebody in the live stream who's a cuddler for a profession. Like I know nothing about that. Like being a professional cuddler. Respect. And at the end of the day, you have to respect people wherever they're at. If cuddling is therapeutic for you, so just make sure y'all are safe with the cuddles. Just be safe. In Japan, you can hire people to resign you from the job. Rachel, I'm curious to see if it's worldwide. I think that it's a worldwide issue, but I'm very convinced that here in the United States, this issue is definitely a thing. And I wonder what the stats are like on, on the women's side. Because with men, I saw a stat that said a third of young men under 30 have not engaged in relations with anybody in the past year. And not that we're saying that people should start, freaking each other, but I think that relationships in general are just down. And that's not anything new. But on top of that, just men are not engaging with women. So a very, very interesting time. Okay, couple of cuddlers in the chat. Yeah. Very interesting world. Amy says in Japan you can rent a grandma or other family members. They just hang out with you and fill the role you hired for them. Very interesting. So you can rent like a therapeutic grandpa to hang out with you and play video games with you for the day. I guess Japan is ahead of us. I tell you what, for the people who hire family members in Japan, I would bet you that improves their mental health, because community is in need. Miss Tara Skin, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's safer in Japan too. I bet it is safer in Japan. I bet it is safer in Japan. And Rachel, you bring up a really good point. When you're in survival mode, your first priority is to survive. So you're not going to do much of anything effectively when it comes to dating. You know. Really good point. Nene says, I never realized that being touch-starved was a thing until I experienced it. A lot of people are touch-starved. And that's a real thing. That is a real thing. A business where people just hug people, I think that could be powerful. And I'm talking about like in a I joke a lot, but I'm talking like in a non-sexual way, like legitimately just to like hug people. I think that's a powerful thing. Mojo Jojo, I appreciate you. Oh yeah, I prescribe in certain states. And as far as like the practice and all that stuff, we'll get that going. I'd rather work in an inpatient hospital or work like within an institution. It's so much easier for me. But there are ways to help a lot of people in a lot of different places, so it's still a passion of mine to get that going. Mainly being away from the family. It's hard. It's hard. Downside to Japan, ADHD stimulant meds are out. I gotta fact check that. I don't know if they prevent you from taking your ADHD meds in Japan. I haven't heard anything about that. But just by living in the United States, I would argue that cuddling in Japan is safer by default. You know, because the U.S. is sometimes not the safest place. Mojo Jojo, the link in my bio, but we're working on changing from beacons to stand store. So I'm working with my team. I want to have like one page for everything, like one page for the merch, one page to get the book. So I've heard a lot of good things about stand store. I think it can make things a lot easier for us. So I'm looking to do that. Vyvanse is the only. Whoa! Wow. This is very interesting. You can only take Vyvanse to Japan. Wow. Okay, I'm learning so much today. Wow. Okay, wow. That's crazy. And Laura says, I think the lack of community is making it difficult for us all, whether you're a lonely single person or a parent where the village is no longer there. Yeah, and I feel it too. I feel it. I can't say whether it's COVID or, whether it's the economy. I mean, it's probably a combination of all these factors, but the loneliness, and I felt that loneliness too. And I have y'all. I have a community, but sometimes there's this palpable feeling of loneliness where, like you just feel like you're on your own. But then you reach out to other people, and then they're saying the same thing, that they also feel lonely as well. So yeah, community is what we need, and I'm a big believer in online community because that's what this is right here. And I know that on my end, it's been very therapeutic. So when I see comments like the one from Tara Skeen, that means a lot to me. But this has been very therapeutic for me. So online communities, I'm a big believer in that moving forward. And as long as we find ways to just stay safe, because that's my only concern online, just staying away from like the bad guys and the bad girls. Or would I ever go back for... No, I'm not going back for CRNA school. I'm not going back for school in general. I educate myself every day. I don't need any more degrees. I am on Twitch. It's Twitch at Dr. Kojo Sarfo. And we will be much more consistent on Twitch. It's just that I'm a Twitch affiliate now. So when you become a Twitch affiliate, the good thing is you can make money from it. But the bad thing is you can't stream on other platforms. So I can't go live on like everywhere else at the same time. But I am on Twitch, and I am streaming on Twitch. Based in Los Angeles, California. I'm terrace skiing. I thought you were saying that you should say your... see, Breezy, I was saying that it could be helpful to put on your dating app, on the dating apps, that you're neurodivergent. That could be helpful. Maybe even a neurodivergent dating app could be helpful in of itself. But nowadays, because of how the internet is and how we meet people, dating apps, I mean, it's a necessary evil. But I'm not the biggest fan of dating apps. Like I just like meeting people in real life, you know. And I'm not on them now. I tried the apps for like a 3 or 4 month period in 2019. It's before social media. Well, it's like right when I started social media, and then like I kept getting like more and more followers, and then like I just had to get off the apps. But from what I remember on the apps, it's just kind of like for hooking up, if I'm being honest. But I'm sure that the game has evolved by now, and you know, you can put, I'm neurodivergent. I'm into you know, geography. I'm into, you know, skateboarding. Like, if you can put your interest there and the things that you like and what you don't like, I think that could work. I really do. Hey, Sunny. We need live dating. So, Crow, we've done that before. We have done that before. We've done the live dating thing before. We've done that before. Oh, shout out to my LA people. You see other streamers doing what? Don't give me time. I would love to do like a live dating and just stream the whole thing. No. Don't put this idea into my head. No, stop it. Mojo, yeah, no, we will expand the practice. I don't know if we'll do it this year, because I reached a point where I was just doing too much and then traveling too much. So I canceled the remaining dates on my comedy tour for the rest of the year. I was excited to do that, but I was just doing too much. I didn't know until my old lady pointed it out, but I was just on planes every weekend. It got to the point where I could even sleep on planes. Normally I can sleep on planes, but just traveling too much, having neck pain and back pain, and you know, when I get to not travel on a weekend, it's like a luxury. I get to just stay at home and be with my dog, and you know, I'm always having my dog at pet boarding or having my dog with my parents. My parents have, you know, they've had Zoe for like the past year and a half. You know, like that. That's how insane of a run this has been. And then I'll go to Georgia and then I'll get my dog. And I brought my dog back to California one time, and then my mom was crying, so I had to take my dog back to Georgia. But I've been on a hell of a run. So now I'm doing my best to actually watch my dog, take care of my dog, and you know, having an old lady helps because she can help out with the dog and stuff. But probably next year we'll look to expand. I'm excited. I want to expand right now, but I know that I need some rest. Daddy gotta rest. Daddy gotta rest. I have a mini Aussie. Daddy gotta rest. And I really do appreciate that, Mojo. No, I should do some videos with Zoe. Cause like I got Zoe back now. Oh, Zoe, I'm gonna take you out. Zoe. I'm just happy to have my dog back, and yeah. I mean, if you leave it up to me, I'll start expanding tomorrow, and I'll start doing all kinds of things now. But my system is a little bit better now, and I have people who, you know, are there to check me, and you know, I tell my assistant, and I tell my girl too, but I don't know how comfortable she is with checking me. But I'm okay. If I'm doing too much, just let me know. Please just let me know, because Like, I'm not gonna stop doing too much until somebody lets me know that I'm doing too much. I think you should expand right now. Oh no, Daddy got to rest for a little bit. Daddy got to rest for a little bit. You know, if she can rein in with you when you are being self-destructive. Right. And it's become harder to find people that tell me the truth. Nobody will tell me the truth anymore. That's one of the downsides to, like, you know, I don't want to say reaching your dreams. Yeah, I have reached my dreams, but I still have more dreams to go. Like, I'm not done. Like, I'm still playing the game. But when you accomplish things that you set out to accomplish, the higher up you go, people stop telling you the truth. Nobody tells me if I'm tweaking. And, you know, like I do have a couple of good friends who will let me know, like, hey, chill out with that, you know. So it just becomes harder for people to you know, to tell you what to do. So, like, I'm just encouraging. I mean, my younger brothers will let me know. You know, they're 24 and 23 and 20, but, like, they'll be like, Kojo, nah, chill out. So, you know, family will let me know, but I think my girl's doing a better job. You know, I'm like, tell me what to do. Put me in my place. Take off my pants. Tell me what to do. I'm like, put me in my place, please. Oh yeah, Mojo, we're already making money. We will continue to make money, and, you know, we'll expand in due time. It's coming. We've been growing every single year. You know, I went to LA, January of 2021 with 400,000 followers, you know, across social media, and then now we have 5 million. So we're expanding. You know, we're growing. And I'm happy with the growth that we have. So I'm grateful. My wife is my chaos wrangler. Crow, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you know, lock me in the bed. I want my old lady to lock me in the bed. Take off my pants. Tell me I've been a bad boy. No, she's amazing. I'll tell you the truth for free. Mojo, when we expand, I'm gonna let you know. Cause I'm gonna need help. I will need help to scale. Scaling is much harder than I thought. Because when you scale, it becomes like a question of how well you can manage people. You know, so you have to manage yourself and manage your mood and then manage folks. It's much harder than I thought it would be. But I'm humbly learning lessons, and life is teaching me lessons, you know, respectfully. Yeah, Nene, self-care is important. Self-care is important. Alexa says, your last video finally made me be brave enough to make an appointment for ADHD. Alexa, man, I love these comments. I love to screenshot these comments. Alexa, thank you so much. And I'm telling you, Alexa, when you get treatment for ADHD, it's a life-changing thing. And that's why I'll end this live stream on, and I'll go take this dog out to pee, but I mean, I always knew that I had ADHD, but I never told my parents, or I never asked my parents to take me to the doctor, because it's like my parents are working multiple jobs, trying to put food on the table. So if I ask them to go see a doctor because I can't focus, it's like a selfish thing. So I'm like, I'm not gonna bug my parents. Like, no, I'm like, whatever. I'll raw dog it, and I raw dogged it all the way until I was 25, and I got to grad school, and I did a good job raw dogging. I was masking it. I did a really good job. I failed a couple of classes in high school, but the University of West Alabama took a chance on me, and I'll never forget the University of West Alabama. They took a chance on me, and that was the only nursing school I applied to. I got in because of my ACT scores, not because I was, I wasn't even Dr. Kojo back then, but I got into the University of West Alabama, and with undiagnosed ADHD, I made it through. Whenever I'm lost in life, or whenever I'm stuck, I get lost in the service of others. So what I would do at West Alabama is I would study, the module, and I would read over the information multiple times, and I would handwrite everything. I would stay up all night, and I would just study my ass off. And then a couple of days before the test, I would make a study guide, and I would hand it out to all my classmates for free. So people knew that Kojo had a study guide that he was giving out for free. So people were like, oh, have y'all seen Kojo's study guide? Have y'all seen Kojo's study guide? And then 2 days before the test, we would come together, and then we would study, and then we would study, and we'd study, and we'd study. My homeboy used to drive from Mississippi to Alabama. He would drive to my dorm at 4 a.m., and then we would study, and we would study. And a lot of people passed nursing school because of my study guides. And then when we graduated, I won most outstanding student. I did all of this with undiagnosed ADHD. The whole time I was just raw dogging. I was raw dogging the whole way. And I got all the way to 25, you know. I have an RN degree. I got my 80 and I got my bachelor's degree. I'm working at the psych hospital. I'm finally, you know, making some money for myself. You know, like I'm finally able to have enough money to have a girlfriend, because y'all women know how expensive y'all are. You know, but now I finally have money to have a girlfriend, and I'm dating, and I'm helping out my family, I'm helping out my grandma. But I'm in grad school, and I'm trying to get this doctorate degree, but, you know, push came to shove. I'm burning myself out because I'm trying to financially help my family out, but I'm running out of energy. I'm trying to, you know, make my girlfriend happy, but it's like I keep canceling date nights because, like, I can't get my work done Monday through Friday, so I have to catch up on the weekends. And I got to a breaking point where I'm like, all right, I gotta do something. I have to do something. And I had a life-changing conversation with a friend of mine who is a doctor, you know, and he was in medical school back then. And he told me that he had ADHD and he was taking Ritalin for it. And he started telling me about his experience with ADHD, and then I'm like, yo, I do all the things that you do. This is crazy. He was like, hey man, go find a doctor and go talk to your doctor, blah, blah, blah. So I finally had the courage at the age of 25 to go talk to my doctor. I got diagnosed, my doctor put me on medications, and that changed my life. My thoughts were organized. I was, you know, normally I would like be thinking about a million things at once. I wasn't thinking about these things. I went to the girl I was dating at that time, her apartment, and normally what I would do is I would go into her apartment, and then like I would never start my work right away. I would watch like football highlights. I would, you know, try and touch her butt. You know, I was just distracting myself, you know, and not trying to do my work. But on the first day of taking my ADHD medications, I literally went from the doctor's office to the pharmacy, picked up the medications, went to, you know, my girl's house, and I went, you know, kissed her, hugged her, hey, how was your day? Hey, cool. I went to her room. She was cooking in the kitchen. I went to her room. I opened up the laptop. I didn't watch football highlights. I opened it up and I started doing my work. And I finished my work in like an hour and a half. And I had the rest of the day to myself. I had never seen what the rest of the day looked like, not catching up on stuff. And that's when I knew, I'm like, oh, this is going to change my life. And it did. And that was 2018. And then 7 years later, I'm here talking about my experiences. We have the largest neurodivergent personal brand in the world, and we're still helping out people. I'm still on the front lines. I'm still making videos every day. I want to post as much as I can. I'm still seeing patients. I'm still doing the work. You know, but I do believe that getting medications was a life-changing moment for me. So when I see this comment from Alexa, and she says that a video made her brave enough to finally make an appointment for ADHD, I get excited because I know how Alexa's life is going to change. I know what's coming up. It's a big game changer. So congratulations in advance. Life is going to get very good. You're about to have fun. You're about to have a lot of fun. It's a superpower, but it's also weakness at times. That's correct. It can be a big weakness, and it can hold you back. It can really hold you back. And without me getting help, I would have self-sabotaged. You know, when you have ADHD, you're so close to self-sabotaging, if not already doing it. And I'm not out of the woods yet. I don't want to act like my story was like, oh, he got diagnosed with ADHD and he got his doctorate and then he started to help people out. He got millions of followers and then he got a book deal and then he moved to LA and he promoted the Oscars. All that stuff, yeah, that stuff was great. But like, I'm still in the weeds with y'all. Like, I didn't have ADHD like in the past. Like, I still have it. So if I don't do what I have to do, if I don't get sleep, if I don't take care of myself, I'm still in trouble. I still gotta wake up and take Adderall XR tomorrow morning and go about my business. So it's a daily fight. I can't fall off. I cannot fall off. So I'm thugging it out with y'all. Like I'm right there with y'all. I'm right there with y'all. And Alexa, I'm not even at my full potential. Like, I mean, I know I've done a lot, but like, I'm just not getting started. I don't like thinking about what I've done because I don't want to rest on my laurels. Like, I'm just getting started. Like I got energy. Like, put me in the game, coach. I'm still getting started, but I have reached parts of my potential that I was concerned I would never reach at one point. So when you start to reach your full potential, there's no better feeling. There's no better feeling. There's no better feeling. Nosha, I appreciate you. There's no better feeling. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Alexa, you got this. You got this. Realistic, easy recipes, home and mom lifestyle content. Oh, you're a mom too? Oh my goodness! Like, damn! Like, you have like 3 jobs, 4 jobs. You have your job, and you have taking care of yourself, and then you have being a mom. So that's a lot. So if you're a mom with undiagnosed ADHD, I already know. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I can't empathize with that. Like, I know that's a lot, but you're going to be a super mom for yourself as you start to take care of yourself. You got a tux on at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, because I want y'all to see how handsome I am. That's why. I always got to put that shit on. You know how this go. You know how this go. Do you speak tree? I don't, but I understand it. At the same. Like, I'm getting better at tree, and I'll go back to, I've been saying I'm going to go back to Ghana for so long, so let me shut up about that. I'll let y'all know when I go to Ghana, or when I come back from Ghana. I'm tired of talking about it, I got to go back home. Funny enough, your video also ended up on my husband's. Hey, if your husband sent my video to you, then yeah, you probably got ADHD. And maybe God was using your husband to say, it's time to go get that assessment. It's time to go. Look, it's going to make everything gets better. Your relationship gets better. And I was watching a video today that said that 96% of people with ADHD, their partners feel like their ADHD negatively impacts their relationship. So just know that when you go for this assessment, this is not some random appointment. No, this is a life-changing appointment for not only you, but for your husband, for your kids, for your bloodline. Like, this is game 7. And I'm not trying to put a lot of pressure on you, but the transformative. You'll see. You will see. Oh, who got diagnosed with ADHD last week? Rough Tana, congratulations. Congratulations. Mom made your poem. What was your question? Sometimes I'll look at this for a long time, and sometimes I'll look at it. But Alexa, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. And shout out to your husband. God was using him. And tell your husband thank you for his attention. God was using him. That's how my mom sounds. My mom always saying, God did that. Laura says, 1 for the girls though, maybe for the guys. Week 2 of taking methylphenidate for ADHD. Our sex life got better, but I was in the moment instead of my brain being everywhere else. Ah. So, anytime I'm about to get off, there are great points being made. Laura, you make a good point. You make a good point, Laura, because it's not the Ritalin that's making your sex life better, like all of a sudden, but it's the Ritalin helping you regulate your mood and helping you regulate your attention. So the reason why the stimulants improve your sex life is not because it's a wonder drug. I mean, it is. But when you're able to regulate your mood, that means that 5 minutes before you and your partner got into the Mickey Ficky, right? Maybe you stepped into a puddle of water with a fresh pair of socks, right? And now you're pissed. But your partner's in the room, they got their pants off. You know, they're ready for it. But because you stepped into this puddle of water and it's a brand new pair of socks, it's pissing you off. So now your mood is just like, your mood is disturbed. So now it's like, it throws off the vibe, you're still gonna, do your thing, but like the vibe is thrown off. But when you're taking your medication and you step in a puddle of water and you're like, oh, whatever, I'll get new socks. Oh, it still means that there's a chance for us to have a really good night. No interruptions with the Mickey Ficky, right? And on top of that, if you can regulate your attention, that means that, you're in the middle of the Mickey Ficky, you and your partner, you're all doing your thing. Instead of you looking at the lights or, looking at the spider on the wall. Now, I don't know why there'd be a spider on the wall while y'all are, doing what adults do. But instead of being concerned about everything, you're more in the moment. So it's not just that your sex life is getting better. Your life is getting better altogether. But I mean, having your sex life get better is great, especially when some psych medications make your sex life worse, right? So we're going the other way around. Emily, how are you, Emily? How are you, Emily? Ooh, and Kitsia on YouTube. I will answer this question for you. You might be the only viewer on YouTube, but I will answer this question for you. Please give me tips on how to manage relationships with neurotypical siblings as a Black autistic girl. Great question. So let me say it's about being Black and autistic. So when you're Black and you're autistic, not only are you working against society, or you feel like that sometimes, you also have to explain yourself to your siblings or to your parents. In the Black community, sometimes you can't even be autistic. Like back in my day, you get whooped for those things. Oh, you want to be in your room and not talk to people? You get spanked. Oh, your uncle came over and you refused to hug him? Gotcha. Oh, you went to school and you had a meltdown at school because it was too loud and you started complaining? So in the Black community, we have we got a long way to go in the Black community as it relates to mental health. And your siblings, especially the neurotypical, they may not understand what you're going through. And I think sending videos to your siblings and letting them know, hey, like, we're connected by blood. I love you. Like, you love me. But I need you to understand that I communicate with the world differently from other people. Like, I'm just a little different. I'm not better than you. I'm not worse than you. But I'm different. And any progress that you get from your siblings, Kitsia. Is it Kitsia? Kitsia, yeah. Any progress that you see, like if your siblings are more receptive to what you're talking about, that's got to be celebrated. It's got to be celebrated because in the Black community, like I said, even with my parents, like it was like pulling teeth. So the best way to change somebody's behavior is actually to compliment them. So when you see that your siblings have done something that shows that they understand how autism affects you, compliment them and say, hey, I appreciate that. And just know that it's in our community, for whatever reason, we're fighting an uphill battle. So it's tough, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible, Kitsia, so just keep that in mind. It is not impossible. My partner's a Black autistic man and he's been through so much. guys, being black and autistic is really not the best combination. Of course, you know, like we can't control that, but I mean, when you're black and you have a meltdown in public, you might be going to jail. The cops might be coming for you. So there are struggles that are unique to people of color when you have autism, and I think it's important to highlight those. For sure, for sure. Good points. Inizio, what's going on? For sure, for sure. All right, I gotta get this dog out. Zoe, you've been so patient. Zoe, thank you so much, Zoe. You've been a trooper. You've been a trooper. All right, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I think we should be able to go live tomorrow. I don't have any flights or trips coming up as of late, so that's cool. I get to sit in one spot. That's really cool. So we'll go live tomorrow. My team meeting 6 o'clock. We'll go live tomorrow at 7 o'clock California time, West Coast time, and I'll figure out the times that we're gonna start streaming on Twitch again, because Twitch is like just Twitch by itself. So, and y'all can follow me on Twitch at Dr. Kojo Sarfo, and I might just use the Twitch live streams to just, you know, stream me in the gym. You know, like we'll find ways to make this creative. So, like I said, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, and until next time, y'all take care. Keep going.